In a shocking twist, Boris Johnson has broken his silence on the behind-the-scenes betrayal that rocked his leadership. The former Prime Minister has finally revealed what truly led to his downfall, and it's a scandal that goes all the way to Sir Keir Starmer's inner circle. Now let's check out the clip of his disappointment.
Yes, I do. If you ask me, if you really push me to say, was it all a terrible mistake to kick me out? Yes, I think it was.
So you think if you were still in power, you'd have won the last general election?
I think we would have. I think we would have had a very good shot. Yes.
Sue Gray, the civil servant who spearheaded the partygate investigation, was secretly in talks to join Starmer's team while she was still probing Johnson's government. Is this the smoking gun proving Labour's hidden agenda to take down the Tory government from within? Boris Johnson claims his biggest mistake wasn't the parties or the pandemic, but trusting Sue Gray to lead a neutral inquiry, and it may have cost him everything. Boris Johnson's time as Prime Minister was marked by many controversies, but few scandals gripped the nation quite like the partygate investigation. Now, in an exclusive interview with GB News, Johnson has dropped a political bombshell. The woman responsible for leading the investigation, Sue Gray, had allegedly been conspiring with Labour while still in her role as a senior civil servant. As Johnson reveals the hidden machinations behind his exit from Number 10, the entire story is being rewritten. At the heart of the scandal is the Partygate inquiry, the investigation that tore through the Johnson administration, accusing high-ranking officials, including the Prime Minister, of breaking lockdown rules with gatherings and parties at Number 10. The inquiry, led by Gray, painted a grim picture of government misbehaviour, while the rest of the country adhered to strict lockdown measures. But what Johnson has now revealed will undoubtedly cast a shadow over the entire process. Gray, who later joined Sir Keir Starmer's team as Chief of Staff, may have had ulterior motives all along. "I shouldn't have appointed her, and that's one of my greatest regrets," Johnson said, visibly frustrated as he looked back on the decision to entrust Gray with the probe. It turns out she was already in discussions to join Labour while leading the investigation. How could that be impartial? His words sent shockwaves through Westminster, raising serious questions about whether Gray's inquiry was politically motivated from the start. For months, the public had assumed that Gray, as a high-ranking civil servant, was a neutral figure tasked with exposing the truth about the alleged lockdown parties. But now, with these revelations, the integrity of the entire investigation is under scrutiny. Was Johnson's downfall orchestrated not by the public outrage over parties, but by a premeditated political power play? Gray's eventual transition to Labour after the investigation left many wondering how closely her actions aligned with Starmer's strategic goals. With Starmer now the Prime Minister and Gray serving as his Chief of Staff, the lines between civil service impartiality and political ambition have become dangerously blurred. Boris Johnson's claims now suggest that Gray had much more on her mind than just the truth. "She was working her way into Labour, and I didn't see it coming," he said during the interview. Johnson's candid confession reveals just how deeply he believes Gray's inquiry was tainted by her future political aspirations. Sue Gray's role as Chief of Staff to Starmer has only fueled the firestorm. While many saw her transition from the civil service to Labour's ranks as a calculated career move, Johnson now suggests it was something far more sinister. "She wasn't neutral," he stated bluntly. "She had her sights set on Number 10, not to serve the government, but to serve Labour." This revelation has sent ripples through the political landscape, with even Johnson's critics beginning to wonder if the inquiry that led to his demise was compromised. If Gray was in discussions to join Starmer while still in the civil service, it raises serious concerns about whether her report was written to serve the public's interest or Labour's political ambitions. Starmer, who has built his premiership on promises of transparency and integrity, now faces accusations of hypocrisy. With Gray at his side, many are questioning whether Labour's rise to power was built on a foundation of deceit. The once lauded inquiry that was supposed to hold Johnson accountable now faces its own reckoning. But the controversy doesn't stop at Gray's involvement. Johnson pointed to what he calls a growing web of political machinations within Labour, with Gray acting as a key player. "They were planning this from the start," Johnson said, implying that Gray's inquiry was part of a larger plot to weaken the Conservative Party and prepare Labour's path to victory. In the months following the inquiry, Labour's polling numbers surged, and by 2024 they secured a landslide victory, putting Starmer in number 10. But Johnson's revelations now cast doubt on whether Labour's win was entirely above board. The timing of Gray's appointment as Chief of Staff to Starmer shortly after the investigation has led many to question whether her role in the inquiry was more than just administrative. Was she using her position to undermine Johnson's government from within? Johnson also criticised Starmer's handling of donations and gifts, suggesting that Labour's recent Donorgate scandal is further proof of shady dealings. "Look at how they've handled the donations. It's all connected," Johnson claimed, referring to reports that Starmer and other cabinet ministers accepted large donations and freebies, sparking accusations of favouritism and cronyism. While Johnson has been out of office since 2022, he remains a polarising figure, and his recent revelations are a clear attempt to defend his legacy. "They wanted to make me the villain of the piece," Johnson said, referring to how the media and public turned against him during the Partygate scandal. "But look at them now. Labour is doing exactly what they accused me of." Despite the scandal that led to his resignation, Johnson remains adamant that his government's achievements, particularly the vaccine rollout and economic recovery post-COVID, should be remembered. "We were getting things done for the country," Johnson insisted, "but they used Partygate to distract from the real issues." The former Prime Minister also pointed to Labour's early stumbles in government, particularly their handling of the ongoing Donorgate scandal, as proof that the opposition is no better. "If anything, Labour has proven they can't be trusted with power," he said, as the dust settles from Johnson's explosive interview. "The political fallout is just beginning." Starmer has yet to respond to Johnson's claims about Gray, but pressure is mounting. If it is proven that Gray was in discussions with Labour while still leading the inquiry, the integrity of the entire process could be called into question, potentially tarnishing both Labour's victory and Starmer's reputation. For Johnson, these revelations may mark the start of a political comeback. While his tenure as Prime Minister ended in scandal, his loyal supporters have always believed he was the victim of a political hit job. Now, with these new claims, Johnson could be positioning himself for a return to the political stage, using the Partygate scandal as a rallying cry against Labour's hypocrisy. Boris Johnson's interview with GB News has reignited the Partygate controversy and opened the door to new questions about Labour's role in his downfall. With Sue Gray now firmly entrenched in Starmer's camp and Johnson claiming foul play, the political drama is far from over. Will this revelation be the undoing of Starmer's government, or will it simply be another chapter in the ongoing battle between Johnson and the political establishment? One thing is certain: the truth behind Partygate is murkier than ever. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are trying our best.